Yo, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm going to be covering my video settings on console. Whether you're on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and or S, these are going to be the game settings you want to run to get the best professional play experience. What I mean by that is you're going to have an edge on your competition. It's going to help you win gunfights, boost that KD, get those kill streaks, grind the guns out easier. I guarantee it, man. Look, if you're new to the channel, enjoy the content, hit that sub button, crush that like button, comment down below, man. I love hearing from you guys. Enjoy it. Let's get right into it. Alright gang, going over graphic settings, we're going to start here with on-demand texture streaming. So if you hit show more, it shows like allocated texture cache size, enabled download limits, stuff like that. If you have slow internet, like if you already lag in game, you're tired of lagging, go ahead and disable this. But if you have fast internet, you care about graphics, you care about the way it looks, go ahead and turn this on. Essentially what this does, your game, when you load in, you know, sometimes the second you load in, buildings might look crazy, you know, they're just a block, or the ground might look really smooth. The game's actually downloading the textures, so you don't have to have it all download on your Xbox, so you're not dealing with like 300 gig downloads for games. A lot of games have this feature, but just for future reference, if you have really bad internet or you lag a lot, go ahead and disable that. You don't really need that. It'll actually help your quality of life with the game. You won't lag as much. Going on, we got world motion blur and weapon motion blur. If you look at the photos on the right, which my camera's kind of blocking it, but you can still see it. I mean, it's blurry as all get out on the right, and then it's smooth, so when you look around, you're not dealing with just one big blurry mess. It really helps enemies stand out. Like this is a crucial settings. Unless you just want your game to look so crazy and realistic and all this nonsense, if you're like a role player, you can leave it on. But if you're trying to get sweaty, get some kills, and get better at this game, you want to disable world motion blur and weapon motion blur. There used to be a myth that they said your game ran better if you had weapon motion blur on. That's so cap. People are crazy. Film grain. This is a texture. You can kind of tell in the photo on the left and right. Essentially, it looks a little more pixelated. I wouldn't say sharp, but in the last COD, if you put it to like 0.01, it had an effect that made the game seem like it looked a little bit better. I have mine on 0.00, but I'm gonna play around with it. As for right now, I just leave it off. I mean, you don't really need that. Depth of field is something that I definitely think you should disable. So if it's off, nothing's gonna be blurred. Like when you ADS, you have two photos on the right. My webcam kind of blocks it, but you notice like right here, everything in the background's blurred out. But in this photo, see, everything is nice and sharp. You can kind of see on the left photo, you see the cracks in the sides of the doorway on both sides, and everything's real sharp and nice. But on the photo on the right, see, the edges are very like smoothed over. And what this does is, if someone's in your peripheral vision, they're just gonna look like a blurry mess. You really want to turn this off. Again, you want everything in your advantage to see clearly, so you know exactly who your target is and what you are shooting at. Going down to the Fidelity FX, this is sharpening. Like, this is AMD's version of in-game sharpening. I would highly recommend you turn this on and then just play with it. Default's at like 0. I would mess around with it. I play with mine at 55 personally, but the effects of like going up in it, it's very slight. You have very, very slight effects. So tinker with it, see what you think. But me personally, especially because I play on computer and on console, I like on computer when my game looks very sharp, and this finally gave me the option to do that on console, which I think when something's a little more sharp, character outlines look a little more defined. It helps me out in situations where someone might be near a bush, you know, the edges of the character model will make them stand out more because it's so sharp and defined. Personally, I like it. You're gonna have to try it out and let me know what you think. For the refresh rate, definitely 120. If you're on a PS5, an Xbox Series X and or S, you're gonna want that 120 hertz refresh rate on. And you're going to want to make sure that your monitor is 120 hertz compatible, or check your settings in your PlayStation or your Xbox and make sure that you have the 120 hertz setting enabled. It's crazy how many people have Xbox Series X's, PlayStation 5s, they got the monitor, they hooked it up right out of the store, and they think, oh man, this thing's amazing, but they don't even have 120 hertz enabled. So make sure you check your settings on your PlayStation, on your Xbox, that you have 120 hertz enabled on your console, so you have the best play quality, because it really does make a difference when your game's very smooth. Field of view, this is personal preference. I play on 120 FOV, affected FOV. What affecting FOV means, affected, when you aim down sights, you don't zoom all the way back into like an 80 FOV. If you go to independent, on the other hand, when you ADS, you're gonna zoom all the way in. So I'm actually gonna move my webcam out of the way here for y'all real quick. So if you look right here, on the photo on the left, he's aiming in, you can see the doorway's real close to him, everything's real just in his face. But on the photo on the right, everything's pushed back real far, and that's what affected does. The reason you run affected FOV is for one specific cause, and that's recoil. You get less visual recoil when you rock affected FOV. That's why people are like, oh, computers have the advantage, you know, which they did definitely over consoles in Warzone. But a big part of that was, it's not the aim assist, it's not the mouse and keyboard, it's the affected FOV. Less visual recoil. That's why people are like, oh, this guy runs a Cronus, or oh, you have hacks, or whatever. No. It's already easy enough to control recoil in Call of Duty. You get a less visual recoil, it's gonna really look like a laser beam. So you definitely want to make sure that you have affected FOV on. And as for your field of view, you got to play around with it. Me personally, I want all the advantage I can get. I'm going to make it absolutely as large as I can. I want to see as much as I possibly can. Now, the downside of that is it's going to make everything seem really far away. I'm okay with that though. I want to be able to see everything at once. Most pros fluctuate anywhere from 105 to 120. It all varies. And if you play on 1440p, 120 is actually like 115, maybe 110. It's a little more zoomed in on 1440p, which I know a lot of pros play that, but I play 1080p 120 FOV on PC and on console. I definitely think, you know, there's no need to go 1440. I think 1080 is fine. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future with Warzone 2.0, but for now, that's where I stand. Weapon field of view, you got narrow, default, and wide. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it as default. It says narrow, the weapon looks larger. Obviously, we're not gonna want that. Wide, the weapon looks smaller. These are just like little fine-tuned settings. I'm sure there's gonna be some TikTok nerds that are like, oh, you wanna make it wide, make your gun as small as you can. I don't care about all that. I'm gonna leave my gun exactly where it is. It's how I play. I can see just fine with the 120 FOV. I want to be able to continue ripping. Third person field of view, same thing. I put it at 90. I'm not out here playing third person, you know, any of the third person modes, but I definitely want as much field of view as they're gonna allow me to have. You know, you got to take advantage of those things. First person camera shake, or like camera movement. This is like camera shake when you're playing, you know, a grenade goes off and your screen's going crazy. Default's 100, which is so chopped. Make it least. This is gonna save you in gunfights, I promise. When you're taking cover and you got drill charges going off and grenade simtexes, all these things going off, your screen's going crazy, maybe your precision airstrikes flying by, and you can't hit your shots because your screen's shaking, it can be so frustrating. Go to this setting, go down, hit least, and you will notice a world of difference. I mean, it's 50%, it's cut in half, doesn't shake as bad. You will still be frying even when everything is blowing up around you. As well, for third person, you want to make it least 50%. Third person ADS transition, I just do third person ADS. I don't like the first person ADS, I just do the third. Personally, for default spectator camera, this is for all you search and destroy nerds out there. You definitely want to use game perspective. You got helmet camera and then you got game perspective. The helmet camera is really cool. It gives you a new look at the game. You know, it makes it feel a little more realistic. It's definitely there for like the ambiance. It's not really that beneficial because you can't tell enemies from players and you might be giving bad callouts. You can't really see what's going on too well. But with game perspective as the default, that's what we're used to. First person perspective, you can see exactly what's going on and you'll be able to help your friends out more. Maybe they don't see a player that you can see in first person that you couldn't see from the helmet cam. It works out and it helps. Brightness, this is all based on your monitor. I think I have mine at 51. I don't know why it's at 51. I always just do it at like 51 or 50, somewhere in there. But this year I went with 51, so we're gonna let that stay. Safe area, this is another big one. For years I did this. When a COD would come out, I would go, oh, let me let me mess with my safe zone. And I would go, oh, perfect, all the way to the edge of my screen, just like that. And I'd say done, boom. That's not the way to do it. Look, especially if you're playing on a big TV, a monitor, a TV, it doesn't matter. If you bring your safe area in as close as you possibly can, you want it to be as tight as possible. You don't have to trace your eyes as far across the screen, so it's easier to see your mini-map. It's easier to see how many bullets you have left in your clip, your teammates, whatever it may be. All of your crucial information is going to be based on where this safe area is. And the closer you can pack it in, the easier it is to be able to see everything that's going on, especially if you're on like a 24-inch monitor, stuff like that. TVs, I mean, I can't imagine playing Call of Duty on a TV anymore. But if you do, and you have to trace your eyes 2 miles to the left just to see your mini-map, chalk it. Bring your safe area all the way in. It's gonna make a world of difference. It's gonna make you look at that UAV more too, the mini-map, your UAVs, advanced UAVs, stuff like that. But gang, that's how I'm rocking. That's what I'm running. Look, if you're new to the channel, go check out some gameplay. Let me know what you think. Hit that sub button, man. Crush that like button. Road to 5K is still a go. I hope you all are enjoying the videos, enjoying the content, enjoying the game, man. Catch you all tomorrow for another banger. Let's get it.